This is the AMX AC-48. It is a Tier 8 French tech tree tank destroyer, and it's a vehicle I personally think is incredibly underrated and very fun to mess around with. In today's video, I'll be showcasing why this is such a dangerous vehicle with its mobility, high levels of DPM, fantastic penetration, and actual pretty solid armor. So let's get straight into it. Making our way over to the gun, you can see it's got 2,850 damage per minute. I'm running gun rammer, but that's because the thing has 310 mils of APCR pen. That is a lot of penetration for a tier 9, let alone tier 8, so you are very easily going to butter through any armor presented in front of you. The vehicle hits hard with 400 damage per shot, and while it doesn't have much gun depression, it shouldn't be too much of an issue, as this is a Foch-style vehicle. All you have to do is hide the lower plate, and that upper plate is going to be incredibly hard to cut through. In fact, it's around 280 to 300 millimeters thick. The only problem is that the entire roof of this vehicle, with those hatches and viewfinder ports, are all weak spots, and anything that hits them is going to pen. Also, that big double gunned turret thing on the back also is a weak spot. So this vehicle definitely has a lot of weaknesses, which you're going to have to keep in mind while driving it. But the mobility of 50 kilometers per hour with a fantastic power to weight and 52 degrees of traverse speed makes it very hard to get to the weak sides and rear of this vehicle. And again, if you have that great penetration in DPM, this is quite a dangerous vehicle to go up against. It has basically everything that you would want. Now, the sides of this vehicle are only about 40 millimeters thick, and the problem with that is A, high explosive shells are going to butter right through it. But the other thing you're going to have to be very careful about when it comes to the side armor of this vehicle is the fact that any shells over a certain caliber, I'm not sure what the caliber is, maybe 130 millimeter. I don't know exactly how thick the sides are, but I know for a fact that the other day I was aiming at this vehicle at almost a 90-degree angle, and I was able to overmatch the sides of this tank because my gun caliber buttered right through it. So we're going to see what we can do here. We're going to start by maneuvering our tank right up where our Type 62 is. This guy's moving up. Irritable Bowel Syndrome. Ah, yes. The best name ever. And you can see here the great mobility. I mean, we are just as fast as the Type 62, as the Progetto 46. We're faster than the WZ-120 GFT. This is a very mobile vehicle, and it makes it great for getting from point A to point B and getting those quick, nasty shells out. So we got the AMX over here, and Type's going to shoot him. We're going to aim it on the AMX ourselves, and there you go. 251 damage shell into his vehicle. Because we had this knockdown tree in front of us, we also did not get spotted in the process. We're going to get a nice shell, 438 damage into the FE201, and this is again where that fantastic DPM on the tank feels amazing. We just got 2 shells into that FE201 before dude really even had a counter. Now we're going to reload again, aim, and boom. Look at that. 3 shells, 1,200 damage taken off of that vehicle. And, I mean, that's the end of him already. Oh, we got something shooting us in the side. We got 2 things shooting us in the side, actually. Alright, well, let me turn my vehicle this way. That way, whatever is shooting at us, obviously, will have a harder time of cutting through. But I'm going to be honest, this is a rather unenjoyable situation that we have been placed in. It would most likely be the Dracula that shot us in the side. But we still have our SU-130 all the way in the back, which is pretty good. So if that Dracula does try to push, at least the SU-130 is going to be a decent distraction. Alright, we are going to maneuver our vehicle up here, and we're going to see if we can get some damage maybe into the ground tank. Actually, we have the T-28 in front of us, and I'm just going to aim in and get a very brief snap. There you go. 369 roll. Nothing crazy, but a pen's a pen, and that did a pretty good chunk on that player. Alright, so we are now going to maneuver up a little bit. We're going to see if we can start by... I don't want to get hit by the T-28. That's not good. Problem is, I want to help out these guys off to the side, but I also don't want to be stuck in a position where this T-28 is going to be a problem. So what I'm hoping is that the SU gets behind these guys and helps clear. We're just going to wait for now. I think that's probably the smartest decision that we can do. There you go. SU-130 gets the clear. Just like that, one of the bigger threats on their team has been taken care of. The Borsig is in the back. They have an SU-130, which is obviously a big threat. There you go. Nice shell into the enemy ground tank. And just like that, I don't think he enjoyed our company all too much. There's the SU-130 PM. Okay, that's good news. We also know that the Borsig was somewhere in the back over here. Problem is our team is running very, very fast away. Not sure why. Bad decision. Okay, well the Borsig shot. So at this point, I should just be able to push the ground tank very easily, get a pen right through his turret, but bit of a low roll, which allows the ground tank to still be alive with only 17 health, but still albeit alive. Alright, the Borsig appears he's going to back right into our line of sight, so we're able to get a nice 307 damage slap. Just like that, we've done a pretty good job this game. I mean, this is a great example of where this tank feels fantastic. That mobility allowed us to get in the game very quickly. And the DPM paired with the high levels of accuracy and pen, I mean, we just cut through everything of armor that was in front of us directly through the ground tank turret with zero effort. And now we're going to push the SU-130. And this is the best part about this tank. It's actually quite heavy. And we can see that right here. Finishing off the SU-130, dealing 900 damage with our 500 damage HE and about a 300 damage RAM. So, I really think this tank is fantastic. There's a lot of people that say this is a very painful vehicle to grind, but I personally just don't agree with that sentence. I mean, we just did 3,750 damage, we aced the tank, we were not only able to net 110,000 credits, but finished double on the next highest for the team. I think this vehicle's fantastic. It used to be pretty mediocre, because the armor was not great. You could butter right through the upper plate easily. And the DPM was really bad. This vehicle only sat at about like 2,400 DPM with Rammer and 2,200 with Cali, which just wasn't good. But Wargaming buffed the DPM by 400. And that buff, with the armor buff on this vehicle, gave it a huge increase in capabilities. I would say that this tank is just as strong as the Chinese premium WZ-120. I think this tank is incredible. Well, here we are, second game, and this is actually a pretty solid matchup once again. Up against us we have tier 8s and tier 7s, which is good. Means that we are going to be able to hopefully get a decent farm out here. You can see that crazy good traverse speed this tank does feature, just there alone. This tank is fast. Alright, so I expect that nobody on our team is going to make their way up the hill. I'm going to head over towards medium side then. And that's the great thing about mobile tank destroyers, is that you don't need to just put yourself in a situation where you're going to be limited to one spot. You know, if I was in an E3, wherever I go, that's it. I'm not going anywhere else. That's the same for a T-28 Proto if you want to think of tier 8s or a T-28. However, this tank, we can basically maneuver wherever we want. I actually kind of wish I had stayed on the ridgeline though now, because look at all that damage we're missing out on. Alright, let's aim it on the T-77, and yeah, unfortunate. Alright, well, that's really bad news. Our Super Hellcat just kind of threw his tank away for like zero reason, but that's just a classic World of Tanks Blitz player there. We are going to reverse up this hill, and we'll see if our Centurion gets any spots out. Here we go. Well, our Cent's in the base, but he's not trying to spot the hill. I'm a little worried. Yeah, I was about to say about vehicles popping off to our side. That shell literally went to Narnia. Now we're going to be shot by every single player camping on the hill. Thankfully, we have the, obviously, mobility to get off the hill fast enough, but still rather annoying, not going to lie. Get a nice shell into the enemy Senlac for 380, and that player is not able to work that position. So if that person keeps on poking it, we're going to keep aiming in. There you go. Senlac misses. There you go. Another nice shell into his tank for 400. This is where that fantastic level of DPM on this tank is very, very hard to counter. And you can see that working well with this vehicle. We got the Jagdpanther all the way in the back. We're going to aim it on the Jagdpanther. There you go. 365 damage shell finishing off that player. At this point, I think that Senlac is thinking, ooh, I'm a stinky player. I'm going to get behind these guys. So what I'm going to do is make my way directly towards where the Senlac was last spotted. Hopefully I don't get detected crossing this. I think we should be fine. There you go. Senlac right in front of us. We ram him. Unfortunately, even with the ram, we weren't able to finish him off. But we obviously have the mobility to easily deal with this tank. We get an HE out, and that's the end of the Senlac. So pretty easy stuff so far. Got the T-77 in front of us. We're going to load in a premium shell. And let's see. Okay. I'm telling you, T-77 armor is some of the dumbest armor in the game, and it needs to be nerfed. I don't understand why that tank has so much armor. But that's not a problem right now. We're going to aim it on the VK. We're going to put it on our Adrenaline. Get a nice 420 damage shell right into his tank. Let's just wiggle. And honestly, I don't really care if the VK pens me. We have way, way more DPM than his tank. We were able to just rip off a pretty solid chunk of his vehicle. Then the VK is going to shoot at us again. Look at that. We angle it, get a nice bounce. That VK is definitely a one-shot at this point, which is really, really good for us. So I'm going to back up. And let's see if the T-77 is over here. He indeed is. So let's aim it on that T-77 and bonk. There you go. 400 damage shot into his vehicle. Looks like that T-77 has a hard set mind to kill our teammate, so I'm going to track him in the open for 449 damage. This is again where the high level of DPM on this tank is fantastic, because that T-77 literally just threw his tank away for that. We just took 1200 HP off of his vehicle. We're at 4000 damage at this point, which is kind of insane. And I'm not too worried about his vehicle. Alright, we're going to wait just a little bit longer. At this point, our camo values have been reset. Got the VK in front. Easy clear into the enemy VK 4503. And just like that, we have managed to get a decent chunk bounce. We've been able to deal 4,000 damage. All that's left is a T-34-2 GFT, which is probably right in front of me, would be my guess. And there you go. Bye. And I mean, that's the AMX for you, ladies and gents. It is an absolutely fantastic vehicle, and one that I would never recommend to mess with. There you go. Clear into the T-77. So you can see, people that don't know where to aim on this vehicle will bounce it. The hull of this tank is incredibly well armored, and it's to a point where any standard shells are going to bounce off of it. If you know where to aim, it's easy, but the majority of people don't fight this tank very commonly, and they don't know where to shoot. And when you pair that again with the high level of DPM, incredible accuracy, and stupid good penetration, it's just an amazing tank. So there you go. 4,800 damage, 5 kills, and 2 aces in a row for this vehicle, as we can see back-to-back games. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I think this tank is absolutely fantastic, and if you're struggling to drive it, hopefully this video helped you out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.